Yo, e-bike community, listen to me, please, and hear me out. You guys honestly really need to start doing some research, man. Don't be such a sheeple. You know what a sheeple is? A sheeple is someone that just goes and does something because they see the rest of the pack doing it. It's unbelievable to me when it comes to this kind of stuff. This shit ain't cheap. It's not only not cheap, you risk your lives when you get on these things. So you would think something that's expensive and costs a nice piece of money. Most of these bikes cost more than a lot of petrol vehicles. I don't mean brand new cars, but I mean if you're a young person buying your first car, most young people, except for, those people that come from money, most of them, the rest of us get used cars. We start off with a used vehicle. Most of these bikes cost more than used vehicles. In fact, I could probably buy a couple used vehicles for the value of that e-bike right there. That being said, when you go to invest your money in one of these, do some research. Don't just buy what everybody else is buying. Shush. I mean, it just seems like that's a trend in the e-community. It started off with stock e-bikes and Super 73s. Super 73s came out. It was a decent e-bike, but it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be as far as what they were charging for those bikes, which you had to go through to get one, and the fact that, like I said, people bought them just because they saw everybody else buy them. Initially when the e-bikes just first started jumping off, they were pretty much the best bike when it first jumped off. Not long after that, a lot of bikes came along that were way better than Super 73s. You think people stopped buying them? Nah, they still paid $5,000 for a bike that could go 28 miles an hour, that was not really all that structurally sound, because you saw them falling apart when they had accidents. The frames would break up. They had all kinds of issues. Yet everybody bought them. Just because. All it took was a couple celebrities to buy them, a couple YouTubes to buy them, and that's it. People didn't research the rest of the e-bikes that were coming out to see that those bikes were 10 times better as far as performance, a lot more economically feasible, and just were better bikes all around. Then, Surons came out. People started buying them, even though it wasn't even an e-bike, and it was something that is going to give you problems at some point. Because the e-community is fairly unrestricted right now, people have been getting away with a lot of things. But when they crack down, they're going to crack down. And, just the main thing that makes a bike, Ciron doesn't have, and that's working pedals. I'm not talking about power and all the other illegal issues, because my bike is illegal too as far as power. However, it is a bike at the end of the day. So I'm toting around some illegal power, but it's on a bike. A Ciron is not even a bike. So first of all, you got that problem. Then you add into it, with extra power and all that. So you already hot. And then, you just got, you really got nothing going for yourself. At least I can fake the funk and, have my bike set up where as though if police were able to get my bike, they wouldn't be able to go past 30 miles an hour because they wouldn't know how to get it to go past 30 miles an hour. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's still a bike. So they're going to have a little harder time. But I still say, because a Ciron is a $5,000 bike. By the time you put another $5,000 in it, you got over $10,000 worth of bike that can be confiscated, put on a goddamn tow truck, and you never see it again. And just like I said, that's a couple of used cars, so I don't know. But like I said, everybody was buying them just because sheeple do what other sheeple do. Not only that, just like with the Super 73s, a lot of other bikes came out after the Cirons that were more economically feasible, that have more power. Now, everybody, at the Ciron community feels like that's the best looking bike there is, yada, yada, yada. It's the coolest bike. And like I said, it ain't a bike. But to me, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the way this bike looks. Now, there are plenty of bomber bikes if you don't like the bomber bikes. Not all of them look the same. There's some that I don't like. And then there's a lot of bomber frames that are, poor quality frames. So again, you got to do your research and everything. Don't just go out and buy what everybody else is buying. However, if you wanted to save yourself a lot of money, you could buy a bomber clone, have better performance than a Ciron, and you can do that for about $2,500 to $3,000. You really ain't got to spend a lot. And I guarantee you, for $3,000, I could build a bomber clone that will outperform a modified Ciron, the average modified Ciron. I ain't talking about a big boy Ciron with some really decent power, but the average modded Ciron, yeah, I could build a $3,000 clone that would smoke them on the road, far as long range, top speed group rides all day long. I already did it before. So like I say, man, people, do your research, just like with these controllers. So I just recently did a post asking what were the best controllers, and I don't know if you remember about, well, I'm sure you can't forget, about 3 months ago or 4 months ago, maybe longer than that, maybe 6 months ago, a couple months ago, KO came out with this new motor, new controller setup, and everybody was gung-ho buying them, man. Guys that already had modified Cirons, with BAC 4000s and everything else, got rid of their ASI controllers to jump on this KO controller and the KO motor. Then after they got them, they found out, after people started doing testing and everything, found out that the KO motors didn't even perform as well as the stock Ciron motors. But it was too late. Guys already bought them packages. You know, because they do what sheep will do, just jump on something without doing the research. Man, you gotta start doing some homework, man. Now, like I say, I understand a lot of y'all got rich mommies and daddies, and you know they gonna buy little Timmy whatever he want. So if you little Timmy and you got it like that, it don't matter. But for the rest of the guys out there that's working hard, struggling, and trying to spend their money wisely, man, don't be like little Timmy, cause little Timmy and his family got it like that. If you from the hood like me, if you ain't throwing bricks or hitting the lottery or got a good job or working 3 or 4 jobs, you got to spend your money wisely. So yeah, man, do some research. Look before you leap. You know, the fact that that post I put out about which controllers are better, and people picking, I think right now BAC is winning. But I was just surprised to see how many other people were picking far drives. Man, let me tell you something, man. For all y'all guys that think far driver is all that, man, far driver is a cheap controller when you compare that to an ASI. Honestly, man, the technology is nowhere near on the same level. What I'm doing with this bike, you have to remember, is on 72 volts. I would have to, if I went to a far driver, I would have to run 96 volts, 108 volts to do what this bike is doing. I guarantee you, there aren't too many bikes out there with a far driver or any other controller on 72 volts that can do what I'm doing with this bike. Trust me. Now, like I said in the beginning, I was a little limited as far as my top end because I really didn't have enough power to run this BAC, effectively and achieve field weakening and all that. I learned some things. I learned that it was power. I didn't have enough battery power, but as soon as I got that BAC enough power, it easily went up to 100 miles an hour all day long, and it will now. You can believe whatever you want to believe or don't believe with whatever. But yeah, on 72 volts. 100 miles an hour ain't all that as far as, top speed. Plenty of bikes that can do 100 miles an hour, but they doing it on high voltage, 120, 140 volts. I'm talking about 72 volts. And again, I always say top speed ain't shit. It's the acceleration. This low voltage system with all these goddamn amps, man, the videos really can't translate just how fast this bike is in acceleration. But anyway, I'm trying to keep you guys that have those nice ASI controllers, them BAC 4000s and them 8000s, man. Don't get rid of your control, man. Do not trade that ASI in for a far driver. That is like trading in a Mercedes for, let me be real about that. It's like trading a Mercedes AMG in for a Pontiac Firebird. Yeah, that Pontiac Firebird may be fast, but it's not faster than that AMG, and the technology that AMG Mercedes has is in leaps and bounds beyond that Pontiac Firebird, man. Understand that. You know, I tried to say in the last video, I really want to press this, man. The only reason those guys felt like they needed to try something other than them BACs is because they did not have enough power to run them. It's kind of hard on a Suron because of the, the battery compartment. You can't get but so big of a battery up in there. But man, there's ways that you can compensate to get some more amps. And not only that, you might have to settle for not turning up your output power, dial the watts back a little lower so it's not pulling as many amps, and turn your field weakening up. Like I tried to explain in my field weakening video. You got to remember, field weakening needs its own amps. So, if you are drawing 200 amps from your battery with your controller output power, and let's just say you turn your field weakening up to a point where whatever it is, let's just say for hypothetically, your field weakening is using 50 amps, you have to add that to the total output power you're using, your output power. If you're using 200 amps, you got to add that 50 to it. So you need 250 amps all together. And like I said, in order for that field weakening to still work, all that has to be without the battery sagging below nominal voltage. Because if it sags down when you full throttle, if it sags down below 74 volts, you're not going to achieve field weakening. Okay? So, you have to turn something back. Either turn the field weakening back or turn your output power back. You can only do what your battery allows you to do. Now, you may be dialing back your output power, whereas though you may not have as much acceleration. However, it won't be sagging that low. You'll achieve field weakening, so you'll have a higher top speed. Or if you rather have the acceleration, turn the field weakening off, turn the output power all the way up. You gotta pick and choose. Either that, or you get you a custom pack that can deliver the amount of amps that you need. And, like I said, on a Suron, it's just going to be hard. Anyway, yeah, that's it, man. Bottom line, point of this video, it really didn't have no point other than do your research. Stop being a monkey see, monkey do. Monkey, do some motherfucking research. That's what the monkey need to do. Do some research. Alright, y'all. Take it easy. Take care. Crisscross and wires. Deuces. We up out. Peace.